Welcome, everyone, to Elevate with V. So excited to be here with you. This podcast was inspired by my own healing journey. I aspire to share amazing healers and coaches to help us each elevate on our journey so we can keep aligning with our soul's calling and gifts. I can't wait to introduce my guest today, Anna. We met, I believe, in 2016. We were both foodpreneurs and part of a wonderful food incubator. We did so many shows together. We loved each other's products and our philosophies on clean, healthy, and delicious food. I wasn't even a cookie person, but your cookies, just amazing. And I just love your joy, your passion, your mindfulness in what you created. And I can't wait to hear more of your continued purpose of healing through food. So welcome, Anna.
Thank you. Wow, that was a great introduction because we had such a wonderful connection together. And we would always say when we would see each other at the shows, first of all, I would be like bartering to get all your beautiful food and spices, which I am almost out of. So we're gonna do that again. But no, it was so lovely to be around you guys. You always had this contagious energy, and not only was your product amazing, but we would always say we need to get together and like do a potluck meal, and we have so much to talk about, but here we are, so I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And so Anna's official bio is that rooted in her own personal healing journey, Anna has experienced firsthand the multifaceted ways poor health can limit general life, mental wellness, and overall freedom. Anna's career path has centered around inspiring others to eat mindfully as a private chef, owner of a healthy meal service company, and co-founder of a clean label snack company, Mirabites. Through Anna Hagopian Health, Anna has aligned with her soul's purpose to offer healing through food guidance using medical medium protocols. So welcome again, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love it. We're going to get into all of this. I'm so excited. So, as you know, Anna, this show is all about highlighting healing journeys and how we have each navigated through storms to get to our silver linings. So, I'd love to hear from you today. What event or events led you into stepping into your personal healing journey?
Yes. Well, my story goes really far back to when I was a child. There was always um I feel like in this lifetime, my part of what I'm here for is healing. As a young child, my family was always very ill. They had so many like health issues. My brother, I was like, I don't know, 6 years old when my brother was in the hospital. And I just remember seeing him in a wheelchair, like just skin and bones and all blue from all the IVs and being poked everywhere. And just being a little kid and looking up at him and saying, why are you blue? Because when you're a kid, you don't understand. And now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, he was literally just black and blue from being bruised up everywhere on his body, from being poked and prodded, and suffering from Crohn's disease. And they didn't even know what that was back then. And now we have all this information, through medical medium information on what the root cause of Crohn's disease is and how to heal. But it was just seeing a lot of suffering, unfortunately, in my family, and realizing that food plays such a big role in our lives and our health. And I always said, for many years, is like food can either help you heal or help you die softly. So it's just it's been part of my life, and I didn't know how to eat. So like if I remember at 14 years old, I was like, okay, I don't want to suffer like that. I don't want to suffer like that. I'm gonna just eat like tomatoes and lettuce. Like I didn't know what to do. So I started, which was not sustainable, was not healthy. I do not recommend it. But that's like what I was like, that was my turning point in my life where I was like, no, I want to and choose to live a healthy life, because I see how much it can hold people back from living their life and their passions, and their being able to use your gifts in this lifetime and enjoy life. So I fast forward though to, I think it was like 2004, I started to get acne. And again, a big mystery, like you go to all these dermatologists and you hear, don't eat chocolate and this and that, and take this antibiotic or take this medication that, God forbid, if you have a child, they're like deformed and they show you pictures and it's like really toxic, drugs. And I didn't know how to heal it. And it was really bad, like cystic acne. And so I got led to a Chinese doctor. And this was again in 2004. So I went to this Chinese doctor and I started to get treated. And for years, I was doing Chinese medicine. I was into Chinese medicine. And I'm mentioning that because it leads up to my healing story later on. So I was pretty good with my health overall, except like I had the acne. And again, I didn't know what the root cause was. And when I started my business in 2013, my mother, I was my primary caretaker for my mother. She was very, very ill. We were best friends. She was everything to me. And it was really difficult to be her primary caretaker because we've spent just so much time sleeping in hospitals and going from doctor to doctor and not getting answers and just seeing all of that as I had throughout my whole life. And simultaneously started our business, our food business, and working graveyard shifts, like cooking all night long and not sleeping, being on coffee, being a caretaker. Starting new business is stressful. And I started to get like symptoms, mystery symptoms and things like that. And I didn't know what was going on. And I was starting to get like restless leg syndrome. And it would be like, one time a week. And then it was like 2 to 3 nights a week. And then it turned into every night. And then it was like not just a few hours, it was like half the night. Then it was like all night long where I wasn't sleeping at all. So I would be up all night long and then still have to function and run a business and take care of my mother. And it was just really insane. So what happened was, if there was a perfect storm for my dormant viruses, like Epstein-Barr virus is something that can be dormant in the body, because I had mono when I was young. And when you have mono, that's basically Epstein-Barr virus. So I had that dormant. It was sleeping. And, my mother had passed away. I had the business. I wasn't sleeping. I found out that I had highly dangerous amounts of black mold in my house. I also had breast implant illness that I didn't know about and I discovered. And I also was dealing with that. Sorry, my cat is trying to get out of the window. I was dealing with contaminated Chinese herbs that I didn't realize were contaminated. So that's why I mentioned the Chinese herbs, because although I believe the formulas were good, I believe, it was proven and they were tested. There was a lot of heavy metals in them. So unfortunately, that doctor got sued and someone actually got very, very deathly ill. I think they actually did pass away. But so I had so much going on, from grieving to, business, not sleeping, having all these symptoms, mold toxicity, which again triggers other illnesses in the body. And I just became so sick. I had like 100 symptoms of things that were going wrong. So I was trying to go to so many different doctors, regular doctors, Western doctors, integrative doctors. I did the Chinese medicine, the holistic. I was really trying to figure it out. And you start to lose hope. You start to feel like, I think I'm surrendering to, this is what I have to endure. This is my life. And you don't want to, but when you're not getting answers and there's no hope, you're just given prescriptions like narcotics and, benzos and, Xanax to like help you sleep and help with restless leg and all these things. And so it just got really, really, really difficult. And then I must have contracted something else. It was like, it could have been COVID in the very beginning, because I was in California when it was announced. And I flew to Chicago because I thought, well, I should just go home. So, because they were about to stop flights at the time, and it was like right in the beginning, and I got really sick. Like I ended up getting so sick that I had like nausea that was lasting like 12 hours a day, and I wanted to throw up. I had like heartburn, and I had so many awful things, like gastrointestinal things going on. But what I forgot to mention, and this is actually one of the most critical pieces to this whole puzzle, was that I had a concussion. I was hiking in California. I fell, I got a concussion. And so after the concussion, I was having chronic nausea. And then I contracted something again. Maybe it was, from the pandemic. But so I was a hot mess. I was like this healthy person. And then I wasn't sleeping, eating. I was withering away, losing weight. It was just awful. And finally, one integrative doctor actually told me, "Have you heard of the book Medical Medium?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "I think you should get it. It's interesting." And I said, "Okay, whatever you recommend." So I got the book, and I will never forget like reading the book, and just everything resonated with me immediately. I was like, this is it. This is the root cause of what is happening. Like all the answers were there. And intuitively, I just felt this is the truth. And I felt so much hope and so much relief that I was like, I have answers. I have answers on how to heal now. And it was a journey, because I'm not sure, if anyone out there has read Medical Medium Information. They're like medical textbooks. They're really, I mean, you can read them, of course. They're made for us so we can get this information, these tools to heal. But sometimes it's a little difficult to navigate through all of the protocols, because it's not like you're dealing with just one thing, like just restless leg syndrome, and you look that up and you understand the root cause, and it talks about how to heal through like food and supplements. If you have a lot of things going on, you sometimes don't know where to begin, and it can be overwhelming. And a lot of things are, it's lifestyle. It's like you're changing your habits, you're changing your mindset, you're, healing your body. And what does that feel like? And sometimes people, confuse like having a bad reaction to something with like what detox symptoms are, or what's a healing reaction and what's a detox symptom. So it can be a lot. But I got on the path, and I started to follow the protocols, and I started to like heal, and I was getting better and better. And then I had some missing links to the puzzle, and I met with another intuitive woman who does Medical Medium Information, and she helped me put the missing links together and just really put me on the path where it moved the needle forward on my health. It was such a game changer for me. And that's when I felt, when we don't have our health, we can't live out our purpose on this planet. This is our vehicle. This body was given to us during this lifetime as a vessel to be able to use our gifts and live our passions. And, and when you're sick, you can't do that. So I just felt like you did when you said, you feel like this life's purpose, like pain pushes until vision pools. And I felt like something was being birthed, and I knew I was close to something, and I wasn't sure what it was. Even though I had my business, I felt like there was something more. Like the business was always great because it was always around health and wellness, but I felt like there was, something deeper and more meaningful. And really just sharing these healing tools and helping people heal brings me so much joy, because I've seen it firsthand with my family. I've been through it myself. I've always been a very compassionate, empathetic person. But when you go through it yourself, it brings another level of empathy, another level of compassion. And I feel like having that, and having the knowledge to help guide other people on their healing path is something that I needed. And then when I finally got it, it was really what helped me move the needle forward. So yeah, that's kind of my, you know, that's what led me here. This is where I am today. And I still have my, we paused our operation with our cookie business, our Marabites business. Still doing it on a smaller scale. So, still doing cookies, but health coaching and guiding people to heal is really where my heart is.
Wow, Anna. Ooh, such a powerful, powerful story. And there's so much that you shared. And I think, it's kind of profound, right? Because sometimes when we get a chance to look back, like the puzzle pieces really do fit together, even though they don't make sense in that moment when we're going through things. The fact that, you grew up around family members being sick and you're just like, what is going on? And at that time, there probably was a lot that was still very mysterious. Not to say that it isn't true even now, but even more so then, right? There was less information available to the public. You couldn't just jump on the internet and start to do research. Like there were so many things that were not available to us at that time, right? And
Yes.
to some degree, something that I wanted to bring up is, we've always been taught to give our power away to the doctors and looking at them as the experts and they know best. And, we've all bought into that. We all have, right? And so that's such a big piece of it too, because if they say something, we look at it like that's the sentence. If they say, you know what, I don't think you can heal from this, or we don't know what it is, really sorry. For
Right.
someone to hear something like that, you're going to internalize that information. And I think what you are also talking about, and, I certainly believe in this, there's such a deep connection, right? To the information that we receive and what we choose to believe in our mind, right? Is so connected with our body. So if you're
Mhm.
told you can't heal and you internalize it, you're probably
Yeah.
not going to be able to heal, I mean, that's just one component. But
Right.
I think, what you were sharing in terms of seeing what was going on with your family, and at a very young age, you were saying that you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to go on this very simple diet of tomatoes and lettuce and just try to be like healthy so that I
Yeah.
don't have to encounter these things. And, you were just trying to figure it out. And it's not like you probably had a lot of inspiration from outside. You were probably like, hey, this is what I'm going to try. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And then kind of fast forwarding through, all of these years where you've navigated all of these health mysteries and challenges. Like I can't even begin to imagine how frustrating. But I also know that people that are listening in, there's probably a lot of other people who are in that boat, who were there or possibly also still there, trying
Yeah.
to figure out what is going on. I could use some help. Traditional medicine, I've tried it. It's not working for me. What can I explore? What can I do? And I think a lot of what you're sharing to me is kind of empowering ourselves, because we have to come to a place of saying, if I really want to heal, I have to take responsibility in doing some of this research. I can't just rely on what traditional doctors are telling me. Traditional medicine is great. It has its place, but it's also not for everyone.
100%. I love that you said that because I'm not taking its value away. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. I think it's even better when you can combine having a doctor and doing your diagnostics and having a relationship where you can talk about these things. Not every doctor is open to it, so it'd be great if you can find someone that is open to hearing that you can heal naturally and help you navigate through that. But it's really like you said, you get scared into making choices. Sometimes you're not really given choices. You're just given this thing that you should do. Otherwise, this is going to happen, which in the case of my mother, she had, liver disease. And they said, you have to take this medication or else whatever. And my mom didn't even know she was sick. She actually had great quality of life until she started getting treated. And that's when it was like the cure was deadlier than the disease in the case for my mother. And not to say that medication doesn't have its place either, because when I wasn't sleeping, eventually I had to get something or else I was not going to last. It's just impossible to not sleep for years. And so I understand that it does have its place, but however, it has a lot of missing links and there's a lot of disconnects. And so I feel like if you can be your own advocate, or if you can be the advocate for a family member or a friend, it just makes so much, it makes all the difference in the world for your healing.
100%, and I couldn't agree more. And I come from a background, being from India, like, my mom always kind of, even when I was growing up, I always remember Ayurvedic or homeopathic treatments. So I didn't grow up in a house where people were taking pharmaceutical drugs. It was just not a thing. So I've always been someone who's never keen. And to the point that you were saying, like, thankfully, I learned pretty early that I would advocate for myself. So when I would go to see a health practitioner and we would start talking, number one, I would come prepared. So that's another thing. I think there's a lot of sort of, at least I can only speak for the US, where when you go to see a doctor, you're usually waiting for a really long time. You get in and you probably get about 3 or 4 minutes. They come in, look at the chart, say 5, 6 things, and they're out. I mean, you can't even ask a question. I mean, you're done, right? And so I remember learning very quickly. I would come prepared with questions. And the moment I would come in, I said, I know you're going to do your thing, but I have 5 questions that I need answered before I leave today. So I would come in prepared, but I also knew it's almost like I was interviewing the doctor, which is kind of a weird thing, right? Because I would start with saying, hey, I traditionally like more holistic things. So I'm not a big fan of prescription drugs. So I do these other practices. So whatever you see, I mean, it has to be something that I can integrate. So you're going to know whether a practitioner is going to be like, absolutely not. Like, you need to take this or else it's not going to work, right? So I had to navigate that. But again, I was taking that power in my own hands and saying, you know what? I will keep looking until I find a practitioner who's at least open to allowing me to do what works for me and works with me, right? And so that's what I've been doing. And I think it's a really important message to get out there. Also to say that a lot of times we do have to go the traditional route initially, and if we're doing that, you can still do it in a way that you can still empower yourself and make sure that your voice is heard, your concerns are heard, and that your questions do get answered.
That's so great. That's great advice. And pen and paper ready, and the thing is too, like you said, you mentioned, communicating with someone who's open to it, because doctors don't go to school to learn about food. They learn what they learn, but they're not, like, I feel like they have a nutritionist, but it's just, I don't know what to say. I'm not going to comment on that right now, but like, you really do have to work with someone that is at least, open to the idea that food helps you heal, and that food does play a huge role in your health. And so having that is really important. And if you don't, then like you said, it's good to find someone else, or, just do your own healing and just use your doctor for like diagnostics and things like that. But yeah, it's really, it's not easy to find, but I'm sure and more doctors are opening up to all that too. So that's good. But yeah, empowering yourself, taking notes, asking questions. Like you said, you only get a few minutes, but, standing firm, and yeah, that's really good advice.
Yeah, I love that. And the other thing, Anna, too, is like you said, the doctors have been trained in a specific way and that's how they operate, right? But I do see, and I agree with you, that there's a lot of alternative types of things that are coming in. Even with traditional doctors, they're becoming more open because I think they're seeing that people are looking for something more. They're looking for something different. And so I think that that's such an important shift that's happening. And kind of coming back to something you said, I feel like we almost also have kind of a little bit of the reverse issue now, where when you were growing up, there was no information. Now we have so much information. It's just like, oh my God, today butter is good. Tomorrow butter is bad. Oh, today margarine is wonderful. Tomorrow margarine is awful for you. You're like, what am I supposed to pay attention to? And I
Yeah.
think that's another thing. It's like, oh my God, there's so much information and everyone's coming forward like an expert, right? Like when they come in,
Yeah.
they're like, this is the truth. And so
Right.
this is kind of coming back to what you and I were talking about is you kind of have to do your own research and really kind of dig into some things and see what feels like the right fit for you. Like
Right.
how you knew when you connected with medical medium Anthony Williams, the book, you
Yes.
intuitively knew, you're like, oh my God, this
Yeah.
feels right. I'm
Yeah.
going to tune into this. This is what's feeling right for me.
And the thing is with Anthony is that gets he gets all this information from Spirit of Compassion. So it's a clean source. It's not a biased group. It's not, a scientific experiment that, it's a biased one, like that, they're trying to get. It's a clean source. There's, the information is pure, and there's answers to mystery illness and chronic illness and things that, science and research is not going to get to for another 20, 30 years. Who has that much time to wait or spend, trying to figure things out? So it's really, he really has information that is the real data. People are healing. That is the experiment. That is the, the science, like, oh, it's not based on science, it's from Spirit of Compassion, but people are healing on this information. This is it's unbelievable. There's so many healing stories out there. You can just, read about them and see photos and videos of their journeys. It's live testimonials. And for me, this is why I'm so passionate about it, because I did go to all the doctors, and I did go to different kinds, and I did try eating different ways, and yet I still didn't have the answers. There's so many pathogens and viruses and bacterias and, fungicides and pesticides, and just we're bombarded with, and chemtrails. I mean, there's just so much that we are bombarded with, that we have to cleanse our bodies. We have to continuously cleanse our bodies, because we're being continuously polluted. Our environment is polluted, our air is polluted, our water, everything. You know, and that's why it's so important to not just think, oh, I'm just going to do this, for a week and then that's it, go back to like, because our liver needs assistance. We got to help our liver like cleanse and detox all the things that it's bombarded with, that it's forced to like take in, to process. So it's really like for me, like the Epstein-Barr virus is something that, it gets triggered. You can get it triggered by so many different things. It could be grief, it could be, like for me with the nausea after the concussion, I had, I hurt my vagus nerve as I fell and hit my head on the side here. And it wasn't healing at a normal pace, because the Epstein-Barr virus was inflaming my vagus nerve. So it wasn't allowing it to heal like someone else who doesn't have that. So yeah, it's very, there's so many answers that we have. And for anyone who is feeling very like lost and confused with your doctors and feeling hopeless, just pick up the original book. There's a new expanded version of it. Read it, and this way you'll understand why, like you said, 1 minute coffee is good for you, the next minute coffee is not good for you. What's the truth? And the information in the medical medium books, it doesn't ever change. It's the same, because it's coming from a clean source. It's the truth. And you'll understand things that you didn't know before, like coming from a food background, right? You and I both. We used to use vanilla extract in our cookies. And I remember pure vanilla extract. And I remember when there was a disaster due to weather, and the vanilla fields got wiped out, and they were like, it was really expensive. And then there were companies that were approaching us like, you can use imitation vanilla. It tastes exactly the same. You're gonna, save so much money and this and that. And I was asking questions like, well, what is it? What is it made of? What's in it? And not really getting any clear answer. And I'm like, then I'm not using it. If I'm not going to know exactly what that is, I'm not putting it in my body. That was my intuition. I didn't even know yet that natural flavors is hidden MSG. And that's what medical medium Anthony William talks about, is there are so many things that we don't understand why they're not good for us. And he explains, why is this not good for you? Why you should eat this? Why you should eat this? Why this is so healing? And that's just one example of, we used to think that only Chinese food had MSG in it years ago. Now it's in every healthy food product. Natural flavors is MSG. It is hidden MSG, but they found a sneaky way around the language, because if they had that on the label, people are not going to want to go pick up a box of healthy cookies or whatever that has MSG in it. So they found a natural way to write it, natural flavors, and these children are getting all these healthy snacks that has MSG in it. So yeah, it's very difficult to find a healthy product that doesn't have natural flavors. I mean, go out there and go look for it. Almost everything has natural flavors in it. So yeah, that's the empowering information, is like you said, not having to decipher anymore. Like, is this good? 1 minute it's good, 1 minute it's bad. Like, this information is pure, it's untainted, and it's healing people. And you'll understand why, this isn't good for us and why this is good for you.
I love it. I know you're super passionate about this. And
Yeah.
say, I think I found out about Anthony Williams' medical medium in probably end of 2015, 2016. And I just remember like hearing him, and it was so interesting, right, Anna, because he's been on a whole journey where nobody really like paid much attention to him for years. He's been getting his messages out consistently for like decades.
100%.
And it's taken him quite a while, but like I was so excited that in the past few years, like he's just exploded. And to some degree, it's like it has helped that there were some celebrities that kind of connected with him that helped to really push out the information, to make it kind of, the fact that this is now part of like mainstream, that he's part of mainstream. I mean, I just was blown away that that was even possible, given what you said, Anna, because this is also a leap for people to make, right? Because everyone is so like, I want the facts, I want the evidence, what are the numbers? And he's like,
Yeah.
no, all my information is coming from spirit. It's a direct channel. I am sharing pure information with you. And like you said, that was hard for a lot of people to wrap their mind around. But I think what happened is there were a ton of people like you who have literally tried everything under the sun and said, you know what? I am like literally losing hope now, because I
Yeah.
don't know what else to try. And it was almost like desperation to some
Yeah.
degree. And then
Yeah.
they kind of connected with his material. And suddenly it's like the light bulbs went off, and it's like, oh my God, this is making sense. And you know what? What do I have to lose? It's not,
Right.
giving you drugs, right? It's like food, a lot of
It's
and
right.
supplements, and again, very clean things. So he was offering something that was not going to harm your body, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so that was really powerful for me to see how much he's expanded. And I've always followed some of his protocols. They're some of my favorites, like, the heavy metal detox smoothie was one of my favorites, his spinach soup. So I'm
Oh,
not like you, where I'm like committed and dedicated and do it like, every day,
right.
follow so many protocols, but there are things that I absolutely love. But for me, I also blended because I grew up with Ayurveda, right? And that's something that I practice as well. So I've kind of found the combination that works for me. And
Yes.
I have been lucky that I haven't been in sort of a dire situation with my health where it's like, oh my God, So I think everyone's situation is different. However, I do think that the thing that I really love about what he shares is kind of what you were saying, is he really is trying to get people to really pay attention to what they are putting into their bodies, read labels, have as much clean, natural food that you can consume, because that is like the biggest step to kind of starting that healing process with your body. Because like you said, most of us are not even aware that there's so many other things that are environmental that are coming into our bodies from different sources, right? So on the one hand, all of this can be very overwhelming, right? Because you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to even do. But like you said, it's like, just start small. Even if maybe, and I used to do this because I loved medical medium, I would be talking about him all the time. And I said, okay, if you're not ready to buy the book, he has a podcast, he also has a blog. Like, go look up an episode that might be, for you, right? Like, say, like
Yeah.
you said, maybe someone's like, hey, listen, I'm having some liver issues. I'm like, if you don't want to invest in the book, go listen to the episode, connect with his energy, see what you feel. What are you
Yeah.
feeling when you listen? Do you feel like it resonates with you? If it does, there's your information, right? So
Mhm.
for me, that was really important to just, and I shared his information a lot because I absolutely love him too. So that is
That's
another.
such great advice. That's really great advice because, like you said, just, there's so many blogs and, podcasts and radio shows and books and all kinds of information. His Instagram is there with healing stories and lots of educational information. And even if you don't want to do all the protocols, like you said, like doing the liver morning rescue cleanse is very, very attainable. Like it's not hard, it's not super hard to do, but it's such a powerful healing tool. Like if you just, from the time you wake up until 12 noon, if you have like lemon water when you first wake up on an empty stomach with, maybe if you want a little raw honey, you could put that in there. You wait 15 to 30 minutes after the lemon water, then you can have like some celery juice, pure celery juice, no added water, ice or lemon or anything. And then you drink that like 16 ounces if you can tolerate that, or you can work your way up to it. Then wait another 15, 30 minutes. And then you have like a smoothie. You can have like the heavy metal detox smoothie, or you can make another liver rescue smoothie, and these recipes are available online, or you can have fresh fruit. You can have steamed potatoes, anything, but the whole point is that you're giving your liver a break. So we're not adding any fats until 12 noon. So you're not adding any butter or chia seeds or, almond milk or coconut cream or anything like that. So you can have like some millet or oats with fruit and, potatoes, butternut squashes, whatever. And you are going to your liver is going to love you. It is literally, you're going to assist your body. It's a cleanse. And it's just until 12 noon. So it's a very powerful tool. If nothing else, I would highly recommend trying something like that, even if it's for one day, and see how that feels for you.
I love that, Anna. Yes. And it's so interesting you said that because this Sunday, I did like a 1 day juice cleanse. And I'm not even sure if it's the recipe that he like puts in the book. It's just in one of the pieces of information where I do kind of equal parts of cucumber, apple, and celery. And then
Yes.
you literally have like, that's all you drink all day. And it's like 6 glasses, and you alternate it every 2 hours. Then you just have water. So I just felt like I wanted to do that for myself because I'll
Yeah.
do that. Sometimes I do like 1 day and it's all like herbal water because that's very Ayurvedic. So I will do like a day and it's just all I drink is herbal water. So it's
Wow.
kind of like finding the things that like work for you, but I think it's okay to start small. And I'll be honest, Anna, the number of times I've tried to do the celery juice thing, and I'm just like, okay, Vanita, it's just not up your alley. You're just not committed and dedicated, and that's okay. You do the other things. So my thing is, one of the things that I love is I do the spinach soup. I do almost every day. It's like one of
That's
my favorite
good
things.
for you. I love it. And there's so many ways you could play around with that recipe, and it tastes so delicious. I love it.
Yes, yes, and I do. I put in my spices. You know me. I'm gonna throw in some spices and just I don't know how familiar you're with Ayurveda, but for my body type, like it's good to have raw, but I have to then throw some spices because for my body type, I'm not supposed to have a ton of raw foods. Um,
Got it. Got
so I find my way around it. And if I add spices or I put like ginger or like a pinch of like something, it actually helps for my body to receive and digest it. So it's sort of like I found my own
Yeah,
recipe.
your own little version of it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
so yeah,
Oh,
so I think like what you were saying, Anna, the thing is it's okay to start small. And I have to say, one of the things I love, love, love about Anthony, he's so generous with his information. Like literally, if you just went to his blog and started to search for recipes,
yeah.
most of the recipes from the books are in there if you really wanted to go that route. I mean, of course, you and I would encourage people to actually buy the book books. But, I think
Yeah,
when you're starting, it's okay.
you don't
Just try
have
it,
to.
because you would agree, when I first read the heavy metal detox smoothie, I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna taste so disgusting. I just don't know if I can do it. And when I made it, I was like, no,
I
this
know.
is
I
tasting
actually crave
way
it.
too good. It is so delicious. But when I tell, because I have shared that recipe with so many people, they're like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, this
Yeah.
sounds really good." I'm like, I know, but just please try it once. Just give
Yeah.
it a try.
Try
You're gonna be surprised at how freaking delicious this thing is. Like,
it's
you're gonna get
so
addicted.
it's so true. And there's a little tip. If you don't, because the option when you put the dulse in, the Atlantic dulse, is you can either use the flakes, like put a tablespoon of the flakes in, or you can buy the liquid dulse from Vimergy. Their website is vimergy.com, Vimergy. But the reason why I like that is because it doesn't have any of that like sea flavor. First, for some people that might be one thing that could help, but otherwise it's really delicious and I crave it. And there's also little variations you can do with it as well to make it like to your own like taste buds or texture of the smoothie or whatever. But yeah, it's really good. I'm actually going to have one when we're done here. But
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. Well, the other thing I did want to say also, Anna, is like, you're really a living example in front of us, someone who's following, and not only following the protocols. I mean, to me, you are now also someone who is coaching others and helping them on their journey. And I think one of the things that I love about what you're doing is, sometimes, again, this is all very overwhelming. And it's nice to have someone who can say, hey, not only have I done this, I can now help you because I was in your shoes when I started, and I can literally hold your hand, walk you through, and we can do things together. And so I just love that, you are somebody that people can connect with and say, okay, she's done it. If any of this sounds interesting to someone who's listening, who's like, hey, I'm ready, but I could use some help, like just help me navigate. I would highly recommend connecting with Anna. I know you're probably open to getting clients, and we will make sure that all of your information is in the bio section so people can find you, because it's very inspiring and so needed to have people that can support other people on their journey so that they don't have to go through everything that you did. I mean, you personally have gone through, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, kind of a living hell with all your
Yeah.
medical stuff for a long time, until you were like, I need some answers, or is this what I'm going to be living with for the rest of my life?
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm so grateful. And you can go at your own pace. There's no you can customize, the protocols to what you think is right for you. So don't feel like it's all or nothing. And it's nice to have someone that can guide you through it all. And if you have those questions like, what do I do with this? And like you said, if you don't like celery juice, that's okay. In the beginning, you can mix it with cucumber and apple, and then you start to reduce the ratios, or you can start with like a teaspoon of celery juice. It's there's different ways and approaches to everything, but I'm happy to help anyone who is open to it because I truly believe in it. It helped me and it helps all the people that I know that I've helped with, and some of my family who's alive, who's actually tried it. And so it's really, I'm very passionate about it. So thank you for having me. I mean, it's been so wonderful to like chat with you and have our virtual like, gathering here.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I was having visions when we were starting to talk about all of these different things. I did want to mention, like I said, all of Anna's information is going to be in, the bio section, but I truly so also enjoy all the tips that you offer all the time through, your Instagram and like your Facebook, where, you're traveling and you'll show people, hey, I've packed my snacks and here's a tip for this and here's a trick for that. And I really love that you really embody, right? You really embody, and it's just part of who you are. It's part of your lifestyle. And Even if people pick up one thing from like a video and say, oh, I didn't think to do that. That's really cool. Maybe next time I will freeze my smoothie and try to take it through the TSA because they'll let me take it, you know?
Exactly. My favorite hack. I love it.
So I love that, you share a lot of tips, and I know I always get things out of it too. So I really
Oh,
appreciate
thank
that.
you.
And I'm just so excited and happy that we've had a chance to like reconnect today. It's been a while, and I literally envision us having this sort of outdoor party where we're
Yeah.
literally just all these beautiful recipes of like clean, beautiful, nourishing, healing, hydrating food, and we're all having a great time. Like I just envision that happening. So
Let's
I look
do
forward
it.
to that.
Good. That's my
And
little dream. I love it.
I love it. And I did want to mention something, if it's okay, Anna. I noticed that you are co-creating a retreat in Costa Rica next year. Am I correct?
You know what? We are not doing it there anymore. We're going to do it somewhere else. So new buyers came in, and the mission wasn't aligned anymore. So we're going to change venues. It's still a beautiful place, but I'll keep you posted. I definitely will let you know, but we're changing things up a little bit.
Love it. Well, I know it's going to be on your website, so people can always
Yes.
get the updates there or through your Instagram. So I know that they will get the information. But yeah, thank you again so much, Anna.
Thank
And so
you.
excited to have you with me today. Truly, truly, I'm just so excited to just see
Aw,
connect with you again. I miss our days of the food business, of being able to
my
hang out. But anyways, I know we will make plans to connect again, but I wanted to thank you again. And I'm just so grateful because I think this information is so powerful and so important to get out there. And I just want to thank my audience for also tuning in and listening to all this beautiful information. I hope there's something here for you that you can, use in your own life. And please definitely connect and follow Anna. And I can't wait to catch each one of you on the next episode.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Vanita.